All right, all right. We are on the live today. I think you are on and we are on. Oh my goodness, my goodness. We were caught by time. My goodness. Yeah. My. Wear my earphone as we come on the live. This is a very important show. So we spent a lot of time waiting for Gifty to show up so we could go live today. And though she's tired, we are going to do this together. All right. So thank you for joining us. And we want to make sure that you share your comments as you join, because it won't be fun if it's just we doing the talking, because we know that we are here for business. And I'm pretty sure that you are also going to roll with us. So let's go on doing this in a fun way. And if you are joining, just please hit the like and the share button so that everybody in your group, whether you are on Facebook or YouTube, whoever is in your within your group shall also see and then like the show. All right, all right, all right. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot going on today. As far as I know, there's a lot going on for us. And so I believe that for a beautiful Sunday like this, you are ready to roll with us. Now, I am going to still do a lot of waiting on you to share. We want to make sure that we get everybody on the live. So let's click the share button. Gifty, please hit on the phones and let's share. Share to your Facebook groups and wherever else that you are on, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, whichever place you belong or you roll. I just need you to share the stream and click the like, and we are coming live again for a very important show. So I'm waiting on you as you do just that so that we can roll in a minute. Yes, I'm waiting on you. Hit that like and hit that share button. All right. So we have a wonderful show today. And before we proceed, I just also want to thank you for joining us. Today is a beautiful Sunday. I think it has got to do with Pentecost. Today, uh, um, uh, probably I didn't calculate, but I think it's about the 50th day after the resurrection of Christ, and therefore there is Pentecost celebration in the air. That is why I feel like the air is good. There is bright sun out, at least for where we are right now. And so we want to thank God for our lives. My goodness, my goodness. It is
It's a
beautiful.
Pentecost Sunday.
It's Pentecost Day, right? Pentecost Sunday. That's the celebration by Christians and by Jewish people. So we are happy to come your way today on a beautiful day as this. And trust me, we got a very important show. So please do the like and share buttons so that we can roll together. So that we can roll together. I already see one person liking the show. Oh, and I see dear Apostle Cecilia Buama also liking the show. My goodness, my goodness. He said, "Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being alive." My goodness, my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. I know a lot of you are hiding in the background, and we are going to ensure that we call you out. If you don't say anything like our apostle did, if we see you, we can call you out. So click the share, click the like button, and let us roll together. All right. Yeah, so today we have a wonderful show. We were a little early and late in the preparation, but we believe that the technology is going to cooperate with us. And if it doesn't, you know how we roll. We are all learning, all right? All right. Yeah. So, what do we have for today? Let me just make sure that I have that out. As you probably know, we have this show. This is what we are talking about: the single life stress. My goodness, I had to just pause a little bit before I hit that word. Single life stress. There's a lot of stress in every area of life. We have talked about marital stress. If you haven't seen that show, make sure you go back and you watch it. Marital stress. We talked about ministry stress. We've talked about financial stress. We've talked about a few other kinds of stress. But we almost forgot about this one huge important form of stress that our young ones and some even old ones are facing, which is single life stress. And so today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about single life stress. It's a conversation here. I am not an expert in being single because, of course, I'm married. So I don't have all the answers to what single people face, though I've been single before. And so it's a conversation that we are having. If you are single on the live and you want to share your own peace of mind, you can share with us as we move forward. And if we say something that you feel like you could say something to that, the good thing is that when you say it, we may be able to see your comment and show it on the live. And if we don't see it right away, we will get to it with time. So that is what we're going to talk about: single life stress. My goodness. So I don't know about you, but I know that it is not an easy thing for anybody to be single. I know that it's not an easy thing for anybody to be single. But before we go on to what we are going to discuss, as we always do, we want to have our health tip for the week. And for our health tip for the week, even though I am speaking here, Gifty's camera is showing so much, so I'm going to reduce it so that we both show up, right? So for our health tip for the week, studies have just shown up. Just recently, there's this new study that has shown that people who use internet, people who surf the web, middle-aged to older folks who regularly use online services like on their own computer or iPad or tablet, going online, just browsing, have a 50% less risk of developing dementia. My goodness. We did a show about dementia recently, and we'll revisit that. So when I saw that, I was like, my goodness, just browsing internet. If you have older folks at home, your mom and pop, one way to help them remain sharp and not get dementia, it's to give them the tablet or give them internet access, so that they will reduce their risk of dementia. Dementia have several forms of risks, but as long as you can reduce it in this way, I think this is an easier way that we can help our older folks. If somebody that is older is in your house and you need to help them out overcome dementia, or you need to reduce their risk of dementia, you are not a healthcare person, you are not anybody who knows much, just give them the iPad, give them the computer, tell them, Mom, Dad, it's time to go online, and just let them surf. That alone, according to studies, will reduce their risk by 50% in terms of getting dementia. So that is the health tip for the week. It's an easy one. I don't know if you want to add
So
anything.
like the browsing, what do you mean browsing? Like are they going to because some of them will get stuck at one thing and they stay at that point. So maybe let's say like WhatsApp or TikTok, they just stay at that point. Browsing mean like going into detail or doing research or looking for stuff, ideas online. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes, they basically using that the online services, however much they use the internet for. Some of them may need to use internet, to search the places they're going for addresses.
Okay.
Some people will use it for
Recipe.
recipes.
Yes.
If you're about to cook something, hey, Mom, I want you to find something online for me. I'm trying to make some meat pie, some apple pie. So, Mom, go online and see if you can search and find it. That activity helps them out. It prevents them from getting dementia. You can also use other services, news services. Instead of letting them watch their news, you can tell them, today we are watching news online. So, Mom and Pop, today you are going to use the computer to watch and find out your channel, your news channel, and do whatever it takes to make them actively browsing online. So it's a good point you brought up. Just staring at one screen doesn't do anything, but the brain's activity gets, enhanced once you begin to move around online. That is what I believe will help them eventually reduce their dementia case. All right, so that is it. Now, if you have any comments on the live, please don't forget to post it. And there is a way also, the system, you have to click something so your name will come up. If you read on the description, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook in particular, YouTube, you just have to send a comment and it will come through. But definitely click it, and with your name, we shall be able to see it as we move.
There is a comment.
There is a
about
comment right now. All right, so let's see. One comment is that, see, you're answering emails. Yes, answering emails. My goodness, that is true. So it's not just browsing, but answering emails, telling them to check emails, either for you or even setting up an account for them themselves. Let them communicate through email. So reading anything that gets the brain activated, this is where I think it's coming from, will do justice to your brain and help you prevent dementia. And that is a risk that has been seen to be increasing. All right, so let's go to our show today. As we said, today we are going to talk about the single life and stress.
Wow, I like the picture you use.
And stress.
Single life.
My goodness. My goodness. That lady is showing of how single life could be. A single life and stress. So there's a lot that we can talk about. A real lot of stuff we're going to talk about. But before we do that, I just wanted us to just look at somebody who is single. This lady in particular is just an example of somebody who is single. But if you think about it, it could be anybody. It could be a guy. Single people are not just they're not just women, right? It could be a guy. And so we use a lady just because that's the photo that I found. But it could be a guy. Sometimes when we think about single life and stress, everybody's attention goes to the women. But they are not the only ones that are single. There are some men that are struggling to marry, struggling to find partners. My goodness, if you are searching on the live, send a comment.
But I think It's more with the women because uh, in our mind or our culture or our society would think that the guy is single because they just want to remain single. But the women kind of wait on the guy to approach. So sometimes, overall, I think the women kind of feel the single life more intense than the men because I feel like the men, when they're ready, they can just move along. It's just that sometimes they are afraid or they don't want to take a step. But the women, sometimes you are ready and you are ready to go, ready to roll, and nobody is coming forward. So I think the pressure is more on women than men. That's what I would say.
Men on the live, if you agree, say yes. You agree. If you disagree, punch and say no. Because I mean, societal pressures are more on the woman. But I can also tell you that there are some men who are ready to marry, who are ready to get together with somebody, and they can't find the right person. And so, though yes, it is, culturally for the most part, it is incumbent on the men to, to initiate, and get relationships going. But at the same time, if the people around you are not the people you want to initiate anything with, then you become stressed because you know you're ready, but the people around are not material that you can stick yourself to and be there for life, especially when we talk about Christian marriages and stuff like that. And so yeah, I agree to some extent, but I also want to say that my men are also struggling. Our men are also struggling. All right, so that is what we are going to talk about. And we have a few slides that we're going to be using. And just want to say that we are not experts. So share your thoughts with us as we move forward. And if we get it early enough, we'll be able to read them and share with others. All right, so let's move on to our next section then. So yes, single life. We are coming. Sorry, go back a little bit. I did not put this on there. Yeah. So what we are going to do is we are going to talk about a few things about single life, and Gifty and I are going to use our slides here. And the first thing we are going to talk about is what is single life. That is the first thing we're going to talk about. What is single life? Okay. Is everybody who is not married single? We're going to discuss whether that is really the case. We're also going to talk about what is the single life stress. When we say single life stress, what is actually single life stress? And then we're also going to talk about what are some of the stresses that single people face. What are some of the stresses or stresses in single life, basically? What are some of them? And then we're also going to talk about how do you find peace and purpose? How do you find peace and purpose? And then after that, we're also going to talk about
Strategies to move into marriage life if you want to change your status from being a single to married.
I
What are
like
the
that.
strategies
I
that you
like
have
that.
to go through?
I like that.
Get
Some of the strategies, right? So we're going to be giving our ideas. And then also, you can read that one too.
What role can others play to help singles?
What role can other people also play? What role can you, who are watching, if you are not single, what role can you play in order to help single people? That is another thing that we are going to talk about. And so, without wasting any time, we just want you to have the chance to invite people. So, I'm going to hit on a break, and then I will ask that you definitely call or share the stream while I go on a break, and then we will come right back in like a minute or so. So definitely share the stream and let us roll together. Share, 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 and share. That is what we are talking about. All right, so let's go back to this. All right, all right. We are back. We are back on the live. I'm hoping that you are also back and you have finished sharing and everything. All right, so let's move on to our discussion. I hope that you made some changes. You were able to call somebody because we don't want to roll alone. All right, so going forward, what are we talking about here? And so we just going to make sure that we discuss this all together. All right, so the first one we said was that we're going to talk about what is the single life. What is the single life? I want to you want me to take it first.
Yeah,
Or?
go for it.
All right. So the single life, when we say somebody is single, what it means is that that person, first of all, is of age. If you are not of age, you cannot say that you are single. For example, my teenage daughter or son cannot say that, Daddy, I'm single. Yes, you should be single at that point, right? So you got to be of age.
So we can say single adult.
You can say a single adult. So you can only be called single when you are of age, you're mature enough to be married or to be in a relationship. If you are not there, you cannot call yourself single. You have to be single, as a matter of fact, if you are at that point where you are not of age, because you need to be focused on certain things that would actually help your life develop. Until you get to that point, you cannot call yourself a single person. So that is what being a single person is.
So like you are not married, right? You can be married and call yourself single.
All right. So you
You are
should
not
be called
married.
not married. Honey, do you know that some men go around telling people that they are single?
Yeah, just to
Or some women too, just to be able to cheat. You are not
just to
single.
cheat. And
You
the funny thing is like sometimes they will take out their ring.
Mhm.
And I remember one lady is like, I think the guy took off his ring because you can see the line
Mm,
on the finger.
mm.
So if you are single, it means that you are not in any commitments, you are not in any relationship, then you can call yourself single.
My goodness. So that is if you are not in any committed relationship, you are called single. The other thing is if you are single, you should not be in a sexual or romantic relationship. If you are and you are not married, you are not single, bro. Or sis. You are not single. If you are in any form of sexual or romantic relationship, the fact that you are not married doesn't mean you are single. You are already, in a relationship. You are taken. So if you desire to marry and you are in a relationship like that, bro or sis, you are not single.
But if it's not official, you are together, but it's not official. It's not registered and married. So some people will still, if they are not committed, they will be like they are in a relationship, but it's not a committed relationship. So they still call themselves single. What can you say about that?
Well, you are calling yourself single, but to the observer, you are not because yeah, to the person that is looking, you are not. Why? Because they see somebody around. So if somebody's looking for a partner, somebody's looking for a life partner, somebody to marry, and they see a man hanging around you, whether or not you guys have done the wedding or whether or not you guys are in a serious relationship, as long as somebody is there,
You are not
you are
single.
not single because, of course, nobody else can come around if there's somebody.
Right.
So that is what I mean by saying that. I mean, I get your point, but I just want that to be clear because some people will be seeing people they are already in a relationship and they keep calling themselves single. No, if you want to be single, remain single so that everybody will see it, and then those who are looking can see that you are available. But if somebody is around, you are covered. You are not available. Basically, that's where I come from, where I am coming from in terms of the definition. So you should be available. But if somebody is around, you are not. And if you are not available, then you are not single. Whether or not it's a wedding form of relationship or a courtship or, some other relationship that you are in. If you are seeing somebody, if you are in a romantic relationship with somebody, you cannot call yourself single. If you want to marry, you got to make sure that it's plain. Nobody is around, so that you can receive offers from women or men who are looking to be married. I hope I'm not too harsh. All right, so that is a person who is single. So nobody else qualifies to be a single person when they are married. If you are married and you're going around telling people you are single, that is a lie. That's a lie. And you know it because you are trying to cheat. And those people are not single. So ladies out there, watch them who are covered, who are coming to you and saying single. They are not single. Same way, men out there, watch those ladies who look very single, but they actually covered. They may not have a wedding ring on, but they are seeing somebody seriously. And that's a sad thing. And you go around, you think you have a chance, and before you know, somebody is saying that, hey, man, get out of the way because she is mine, and you waste all your energy. So a single person is one that is not in any relationship, whether it's serious or romantic or sexual for that matter. You got to be free for others to see that you're single so that you become somebody on the market for grabs, right?
Right.
All right. You agree?
I do.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't want to drag it too much. But uh, sometimes you are in a relationship and you can see that the person is not very serious, and you just want to be still looking because you know that the person that you're seeing, though it may not be sexual, but the person relate to you one way or the other. If you don't market yourself as single, nobody is going to come around. But you know, whoever you have around is not serious. But one thing that you are saying that if you want to look around, you have to cut off every attachment, right? And you have to be there single for other people to see that you are really, really single. So if you are in a relationship and you feel like you are not really, it's not really serious and the guy is not really taking you anywhere, cut it off and remain single so that other people can find you.
So that other people can find you. Cut that off so that other people can what? Find you. That is the key here. Because you don't want anybody who is not real serious to be hanging around for whatever benefits they know, and then you'll be wasting your time. And we're talking about stress that comes with single life, and you'll be stressed for a long time because the market is not easy. The goods on the market are few. There are few people with money to buy. And so if your product is kind of like taken, then let it be taken. If it's not taken, let us know so that those who are shopping can see that, oh, this one is not bought yet. They can see that this product is on the market, and they can make the offers and then take the single people home. But we're going to come back to that in the course of this. We're going to talk about how to actually leverage your single life and move yourself from being single to getting a relationship. But before that, let's roll in this way with these minor definitions. So the other thing is, what is single life stress? What is single life stress? And I don't know if you want to start off that.
So the stress and challenges that individuals experience while being single. The stress and challenges that each and everyone experience while being single.
My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. So if you remember our show last week, we talked about how ministers get stressed and other forms of stress out there, right? Now, this kind of stress is peculiar to only people who are single, single life stress. If you are not single, you wouldn't see what we're going to talk about. You probably would know because you have people around and you probably were single too. So single life stress is the kind of stress that is peculiar to people who are single, who are ready to marry and yet haven't found the right people or the right person to marry. So, as Gifty says, the stress and challenges that come on individuals who are single. Just because they are single, they are stressed. That is all that stress is. And then we are going to go to the next topic. Then the next question that we want to answer is, if that is the case, what are some of the stresses of individuals who are single? And that is where the bulk of our show is actually going to be. So if you still haven't shared the stream, make sure you click the share and share it so that we can move on together. So what are some of the stresses that individuals face while they are single? If you want to start, Gifty.
what are the stresses?
Yes. What are some of the stresses? Do you have? We have some listed that we're going to talk about, but for any of you who may not have been single before, this
Everybody have been single before.
if you're married, you have been single before. No, some people, the moment they were growing up, when they got to the marriage age, like Isaac, their father found them somebody, so they didn't struggle at all. It was the person
I
was
see
there,
where you're going with that.
you know. But some people too, they have to hustle and bustle and hustle before we find somebody, So yeah, it is something that we're going to talk about. So, what are some of the stresses of a single life? The first one on our screen, as we have written, is social pressures or societal
Societal.
pressures. I'm going to explain.
Go.
So, by societal pressures, what we mean is that some people basically are stressed for being single because of the pressures that come from their society, the social groups, whether it's their family giving them stress, whether it is their school giving them stress. Maybe you are doing your graduate program and everybody is talking about what their wife or their husband is doing, and you feel like you don't have that conversation, you can't contribute to that conversation. So, by virtue of where you belong, socially, you are stressed. They are always bringing that issue up. Or it could be even in a church group. Your church, every young person is marrying, you haven't found the person yet. And people begin to look at you like, as for you, you don't want to marry. It's not that you don't want to marry. So the pressure is there. So that is what I mean by social pressures that is actually coming to bear on people who are single. And this is huge. I think of all of them, that may be one of the most important pressure that people face. I
And
don't know.
sometimes to your peers. Your
Your peers.
peers, your maybe your classmates, the people that you graduated school with, or the people that you grew up together, and they are all getting married, and you look around and you see right away that the people around you kind of are stressing you because everybody around you is getting married and you feel
Everybody is
left
getting
out.
married. My goodness. Everybody is getting married. And then you feel left out. Not that you're not beautiful, not that you're not a good person, not that you are not like, a married material, but for whatever reason, the marriage is not happening. And the people around you are making it even worse for you. You yourself, you are fine, And as a matter of fact, some single people want to be single, but for the pressure of society, either your mom is pressuring you, hey, you got to marry and give me the grandbabies.
Or like they'll put it this way: look at your friend that you graduated with. Oh, she got married last 2 weeks. Oh, and the other friend of yours too just had a baby, and this and that and that. You know that the pressure is coming all around
The
you.
pressure is on.
Yeah,
The pressure is on.
I have to go.
All
My
right.
mom.
Pressure is on. So that is what happens, and we are going to continue to talk about some of the things that happen. So the other thing is what? Loneliness. 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 That's a huge stressor in single life. People who are single are having a lonely life. And this is one of the places where I remember exactly when I was single. Being alone. Being alone. That is huge. That is very, very huge. And so it is huge. It is something that we have to deal with. It is something that we have to talk about. Single people feel alone. A lot of single people, because of the loneliness alone by itself, they are stressed. They are very, very stressed. Very, very, very stressed. Very, very stressed. So we have to ensure that we talk about this. So single life stress, loneliness, societal pressures, and the fact that you are alone. You're going to a program, everybody's going with your husband or their wife, and you are walking alone. You're going to a job party, everybody's bringing somebody, and you are going alone. You have some other social program that you got to attend to. Sometimes even introducing yourself. People want you to introduce yourself and also say, and this is my, because everybody else is like that. You are alone. You go to places all by yourself, and that is huge. That is very huge. It's a huge stressor in the life of a single person. The next one.
The next one is isolation. I think that will uh, be part of being lonely because you feel so isolated in maybe in a gathering. Like you go to a program, church program, everybody, especially when they're talking about marriage stuff, you feel so left out. You feel so left out. So isolation is a big one there. That it can be a huge stressor. Yeah. So I think it's something that we can look into, being isolated.
All right. So sorry about that. So that is huge. That is really huge. Isolation. You are isolated. Isolation kind of looks like loneliness, right? But it is a little different. When you are isolated, you are facing issues alone. You are basically by yourself. That is huge. Being alone is having a sense of nobody with you and doing stuff. But being isolated is that, I think that's even worse because you are in your own small island. Your views and your thought processes, your demands and your feelings, nobody seems to understand. So you are isolated in your own right. However many problems you are facing, it is showing because you are isolated. And that is huge for the life of a single person. And especially when you are of age and you have been single for a while, if it is just recently you graduated and you are not married, you can deal with the isolation, the only grad walking about in the house and nobody is anything, it's normal. The time will come. But if you've graduated, you've worked for some time, you've done all that it takes to do, and still nobody comes around, you feel isolated. You feel like you are in an island and people don't understand the things you go through. So your problems become magnified because you don't seem to know anybody who actually understands your life. That is huge. That is very huge. You want to go to the next one as more future what?
Uncertainty. So you're not sure because maybe all of your life you had plans, So like you like, oh, after this age I'm going to go to school, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to have my master's degree. After that I'm going to get married. Then that comes and nobody's coming forward. So your future becomes so uncertain. You're not sure what you are going to do next because in your mind you feel like you have to be married first before the next things will follow. And now you are there and nobody's coming forward.
Nobody's coming forward.
Or you are not finding anybody. That can be a problem.
That can be a problem. So your future is uncertain. Uncertain future. You are not sure. Some people too, they are not sure because how we plan lives, right? I remember when I was, before I married, I had made plans. After college, I'll do this and do this and do this, then marry. So if you don't have anybody that you are courting, you don't have anybody within the sphere of your, of your friends, of your colleagues or wherever, you have no promise from anybody, nobody has given you any promise ring, and you are planning. Sometimes it's not easy because you want to plan for the big things of life or in life, and you should make these plans with a man or with a woman who's going to be there for a long time with you, and yet then that person is not there. That person is not there, and if that person is not there, then it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. That is where we talk about uncertain future. It brings stress. It makes you feel like, how is my future going to be like? Am I going to have kids? I'm growing. I'm growing, especially with a woman. I'm growing. When am I going to be able to have the children that I need to have? You're uncertain. Is there going to be somebody even for me to marry? Am I really a wife material? Why is it taking this long? Are all these men not seeing me? You're uncertain about your future. You can't plan well for some people because of the stress of uncertainty that you face.
And now with the women, I know like if you get to a certain age, it becomes very difficult to have kids. So your chance of getting pregnant reduces as you age. Now you are aging, and now you are
There's
thinking
nobody.
about how you are going to move forward with your life. So being uncertain whether you are even going to have kids. After all, some people will even end up freezing their ovaries and doing certain things just to help them relax in life, because the next step is not happening,
It's not happening yet.
and it can be very stressful.
It can be stressful. It can be very stressful. So that is huge. I didn't even think about that for the coping mechanisms for being single. Well, that maybe you should mention that again. Freezing your ovaries. That is huge, right? All right. So before we go on, there are what desires for companionship. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. But we also want to say that Apostle is also sharing with us. Apostle Buama is saying that financial stress is also another one that is huge. Financial stress. If you are a single man or woman in the United States, you understand what the apostle is talking about. My goodness. Woo! You will understand what she means by financial stress, because it takes two to tangle over here. Two people are paying the mortgage, or two people are paying the apartment and the electricity bills and all those bills. It is much easier. So the single life stress in itself is going to compound your financial stress. Oh my goodness. God have mercy on single people. Yes, because again, you are solving and facing life's issues all alone. Perchance you may have help from family and friends, but for how long? Sometimes it will be like, you got to move on, you got to do this, and especially when you have parents who are inconsiderate, who will push you out. You, why would you marry? Don't you see this person marrying? What are you waiting for? As if like you don't want to marry, but that's not the case. It's the stress of singleness is even increasing the more with such things. So now the desire for companionship is a huge thing also, right?
Because you desire to be with somebody, and it's not happening. So that can lead to being stressed, because that's your desire, that's your wish. Because some people want to be single, maybe of broken relationship, or what they've been through in their previous relationship, or the way their upbringing when they were growing up, they could see their parents not having good relationships. So the desire to marry is not them. They don't want to marry, or to move from being single, because they feel like there is more freedom in being single. That's not their desire. So such a person, they have a way of coping or being able to withstand that stress. But somebody who, when they were growing up, they could see a good marriage. Their parents were in good marriage. They were relating nicely. They were doing things together. They were going out together. They were doing everything together. And that is the person's desire. And it's not happening. Then you can say that the person can be going through a little stress because it's not happening for them.
My goodness, my goodness, a desire for companionship. Something. I just want to throw this in when God made Adam, God Himself saw that it wasn't good for Adam to be alone. He said, "It's not good for the man to be alone." So He made him a helpmate. So God knows that companionship is good, and so it's okay if you are stressed being single because you desire companionship. The fact that you want to be around people is no accident. It is our nature that we have people like, relate to as friends, your best friends, and somebody you can look up to, somebody that you can say that, hey, this is my buddy. It's somebody as intimate as possible, somebody you can trust and you can rely on. It's a desire that is placed in our hearts by our Maker, and so it's okay if you have that stress and you are single. But the key is, how do you manage and cope with that stress? So we're gonna hit all those as we move forward. So don't leave the stream. Make sure you like and stay with us as you move forward. And we'll move to the next one. You want to start there?
Sexual urges. So as you're growing, your hormones are also changing. So there will be some time that you have the urge to have sex. So if you don't have a partner, that can be very stressful on your part.
My goodness, my goodness. Are you done?
I'm done.
You always try to make your answers short when it comes to those things. You are not done. There's more upon my goodness. All right. So the desire for sex, especially if you were sexually active before you got to be, single, if you were sexually active, you are not a believer, or maybe your kind of religion, you start, you had relationships that you had sex, and you have done it for a long time, and all of a sudden it's time for marriage, and marriage is not coming, and you are a single person, you will face that stress of sexual urges. It is normal. Our bodies were made that way, and it's not just that. In your case will be worse than somebody who was a virgin who is just waiting, because for them the experience there is not. And so, still, because we are biological and physical beings and sexual beings, God made us like that. You still have those edges, but it is easier for that person who hasn't been doing that before they actually entered single life. Uh, um, Singleness, I should say. But
Singleness.
somebody who has been in relationships, and now is all of a sudden, either because of religion, because of their faith now in Christ, they're like, I can't live that way anymore. So they go to church, and or whatever religion. Because of that, they cannot do those things anymore. You are definitely going to face those edges, and that adds to the stress of lack of companionship, lack of uncertainty in future, lack of financial breakthroughs, isolation, loneliness, and all those other things you have mentioned. So that becomes an icing on the cake. My goodness. And that is why, it is important, if you are not already sexually active, it is probably your best bet to stay not sexually active. When people tell you that you got to screw up, you got to make sure you have multiple partners, just to make sure you are ready for marriage and stuff, like, they are not doing you good, because you will eventually end up in a place where you cannot control yourself when you are single.
Mm.
And even if you are during your marriage, it's going to affect you. So if you haven't messed up, it is good to stay away and keep yourself and deal with the other more serious stresses that we see or that we have mentioned, and rather than to compound things by becoming sexually active, because people say, men say that before before I marry you, before I be in a relationship that is serious, I have to have you, and then you follow. A woman tell you guy too, and you follow. And then of course, if you don't marry, you are going to be even more stressed because of the additional stress that comes from sexual um, edges.
Mm.
I don't know if you have anything else to
That's
add.
fun.
All right, so we will move forward, and then we'll see what next it is. So we have discussed a lot of the stresses, and see, there is another person that has Eric Opoku says, I have a keen interest in this episode. You better, bro.
Oh, is it because he's single, right?
Because he's single, so
Mm.
he has a keen interest. So you probably know a lot of these things that we are saying because you are currently single and you feel them. You can share some of them with us if we haven't mentioned. All right. And those of you on the live who haven't shared anything yet, make sure you share something if you haven't said anything, or if we haven't mentioned some good point that would benefit all of us. Please do us a favor and share it so that we can see them all on the live. All right. All right. So we are going to move on to the next thing then. The next thing we are going to talk about is a time for break. And on this break, what we are telling you is, please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done it on youtube.com/ at Dr. Orteng, DORTENG, or follow us on Facebook. I'll do both. Just click the follow button, and we will. You will have access to all the material that we have in terms of video education and stuff like that. There's a huge stack of things that we have posted, and you won't see until you actually subscribe, until you actually follow, because the weekly shows just began recently. We have a huge stack of health information and education materials on our YouTube channel. So subscribe and be part of our conversation. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to move forward to the next thing on our agenda. And the next thing is that how do you find peace and purpose in a single life? Being single, how do you find peace? This is a very important one. How do you find peace? Because it is one thing talking about it, but how do you actually navigate a system and be at peace? The age is not stopping. Every year, one age is added. And you look and the prospects of getting somebody become smaller and smaller. How do you find peace? How do you find peace? Just want to pause a little bit. You just think about it. Put yourself in the shoes of a single person, especially those older who have been waiting for a long time. Last time, I think during the ministry stress discussion, Pastor Frank said something. He said that as a minister, you can see some people who are genuinely good, good women, good men, ready for marriage, and nobody's coming forward. How do you deal with that stress? How do you navigate? How do you find peace? Do you go to God and accuse him for not giving you a husband or a wife? After being that good, after keeping yourself, a virgin, some of them, doing all the things that everybody tells them to do. How do you find peace? How do you navigate this stressful situation of single life when you know you want to marry? Just think about it. Put yourself in the shoes of somebody at that point. And then if you are ready and you are a guy, you are ready with everything that you know you can marry. And yet, because of commitment, you are also not marrying. Think about these women who are waiting on you. My goodness. Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways. Talk about them. Talk about these women. I think our frozen right there. Let's see if we can. The internet. If you can hear us, just say something on the live because our show, I think our thing is frozen. I'm not sure if it is from our end or if you can hear us. If you can hear us, let us see. Let us see if you can hear us. Say something on the comment section so that we can know that you are hearing us. I just need to see and have confirmation because I can see that our screen is frozen. Anybody on the live, let us know. My goodness. My goodness. I'm waiting on you. We can hear you, please. Okay, so you can hear. I don't know if you can see our video, but it seems to have frozen on my side here. Can you also see our video or it is frozen? It is shut. Let us know if you can see. You can hear us loud and clear, but I can see the monitor that it is not moving. Do you see us? All right, because we want to continue the stream. Just want to make sure. Eric says, I can hear you. All right. Yes. Can you see us though? Can you see us? Otherwise, we'll just continue to do it in the audio and hopefully we can have a recording of it reposted after. All right. Can you see us? Yes, you can hear us, but can you see us? Let's see. We can see you too, please. All right, all right, all right, all right. I don't know why, but my monitor is frozen, so we're going to continue. All right. So basically, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who has been single for a while, looking to be able to marry, and the marriage is not happening. Just think about them for a little bit. It is a huge thing. Marriage is the beginning of a lot of the things that God has promised you. Your blessings in having children, your blessings of companionship, your blessings of having a family, even if you don't have children, all start with being married. So now the question is, how do you cope? That is the next thing that we are going to talk about. How do you cope? How do you find peace and purpose? And that we are going to, we have a few things that we have listed here. I hope you can still see it. Yes, you can see us. Good. Yes, thank you for letting us know. We appreciate that. All right, so Gifted, you want to start off?
Having a positive mindset it's more like just enjoying. Like people say that you can plan your life, you know, you'd be like, oh, at this time I want to finish school. After school I want to get married. After marriage I'm going to get 3 kids. After 3 kids I'm going to travel the world. You know, you have something set up. But if it's not happening at a point in your life, you just have to have a different mindset that maybe it's not time yet. And you can think of it this way, that life is not a race. It's not like
that.
You are competing and you have to run this point at this time in your life. You know, if you think of it that way, that it's all in your mind. If you think of it that positively, you are going to look at your situation at that time in a different way. It's going to relieve you a lot of the stresses that we've gone through. You know, culturally, with your peers and everything. Like, that's the time that you can use to add value to yourself. You know, so your mindset, if you are not thinking of it in a negative way, but you are looking at it in a positive way, then maybe this is a time that I have to find myself. People say that I'm discovering myself. If you are alone or if you are single, that's the time that you can do that. You don't need second person to pinpoint your weakness and all that. You can use that time to find yourself, to discover who you are. What are your interests? What's the things that make you tick? What's the things that make you enjoy life? What are the things that make you relax in life? So it's all about the way that you look at it, at the state where you are in life. How do you see yourself? It's time to add value to yourself. Maybe you can take another level of education wherever you are. You can upgrade yourself. Maybe it's the time to travel. Maybe it's the time to get to know other people. So it's the way that you see your situation. If you see your situation that, oh my goodness, I'm so falling behind. Everybody is going, everybody is getting married, everybody is doing this, you are going to be very stressed. So in order to have a positive mindset, in order to relax in your situation, look at it in a positive way. What can I do at this point in my life? If marriage is not happening, what else can I do? I can write a book. You know, I can get to know other people. I can form other relationships with people around me. I may be more active in church activities because I have the freedom, I have the liberty to do things that marriage people do not have time to do.
Oh my goodness. The liberty to do stuff that many people can.
Yeah,
right?
because sometimes you are so restricted. You have to come home right away after work because you have to make dinner.
You have to make dinner.
You have to pick your kid from school. You have to go to like extra curriculum. You have to do this. You have so many responsibilities. You have to take them to doctor's appointment. That's a huge one. So you as a single person, you have all these times that you can use to benefit yourself. So if you think of it that way, I think you are going to overcome a lot of the stresses.
If you think about it that way, you are going to overcome a lot of the stresses. So positive mindset. Some people have given up, even though it's not over. You know, scriptures, it's not over until it's over, right? And with God, all things are possible. My goodness. My goodness. My goodness. And I want you to cope, you know, the single people out there, men and women alike. I want you to learn to cope by believing that with God, all things are possible. You know, if it took 100 years for somebody to have a child, 90 years for somebody to have a child, don't fret yourself. Don't feel like time is passing, and so you begin to get stressed. No. Let time pass. If you are genuinely for God and you trust Him that when the time is up, you can have the babies. Don't just believe in science. And I'm not saying that because I don't believe in science. We are scientists. We are trained in science that's how we make our money and our living. We believe all that. But we also believe in something that is better than science. My goodness. We also believe in something that is stronger and more proven than science. And that is what we call God. If you trust in God, if you have God as your backbone, don't give up. Don't succumb to the dictates and the deadlines of men. You know, do your part as a human being. Like you're saying, There was that statement you made profound. Like if you feel like you are getting old and the marriage hasn't happened, maybe you should freeze your eggs. That's science talking. We are scientists. We will agree. Yeah, maybe you talk to your doctor and say, "Hey, doc, I'm gonna freeze my eggs just so that in case I marry in the future, or even if I don't marry and I decide to have a baby sometime in the future, I have that. You can take care of that." And when a husband or a man comes around and they hear that, they'll be like, "Wow, I am impressed. This is a woman that plans." You know what I'm saying? Rather than to cry about it when there are solutions out there, for all the eventualities, all the stresses, the things that make you stress. So live your life, trust in God, and believe that whatever it is that God has said about you, it will come to pass. It will come to pass. Unless you don't believe. If you believe, it will come to pass. So these things we are sharing with you here are just pointers to help you, navigate the system. But I'm telling you that if you trust in the Lord, tarry, it may tarry. The vision is for an appointed time. It may delay. It may seem like everybody is passing you. Everybody got their husband. Everybody got their wife.
It's no race.
It ain't no race. It is not any race. It is God that does what is right for you. And so, yeah. And so you do not stick to the losing thought processes of it's over for me. I'm turning 40. I'm turning 35. I'm turning 20. I'm sorry. I'm turning. If it's 20, you are not single yet. I'm turning 50 and no man. Yeah, no man is all right. If you are going to marry, if God says you will marry, you will marry. When God said that Abraham is going to be the father of many nations, nobody thought it was going to take up to about 90 and 100 years for the first child to be born. And yet today, as we speak, multitudes of people trace their ancestry to Abraham. Whether you are Islam or Christian, we are all under Abraham, one person who lived to fulfill the promise of God. So it doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter how delayed it may be. Like Gifty said, use this time for self-discovery. Use this time, your single time now, to discover who you actually are. Some of us, we don't even know who we are. And so God will delay it. Because if you don't know who you are and somebody comes to discover you and asks you, "I am OT, who are you?" You're going to mention something that is not you. They want the real thing. So find yourself. My goodness. Single people. Find yourself. My goodness. Find yourself, single people. You may be lost. Find yourself. Find yourself. No matter how long it's been. Dedicate some time to discover yourself. And then there's another thing that is on there to say self-care, right? Some single people too, you don't know if they are really on the market to be bought. If you are single and you want to remain single, that's you. But if you are hoping for marriage, you got to do what will let the market, the onlookers know that you are ready for marriage. And that is going to be part of the tips that we are going to give for people to actually move from being singles to marriagehood. But yes, self-discovery is one. And then also surround yourself with support system. If somebody comes around and they are not the people who give you positive vibes, they're always judging you and asking you why stuff is not working, get out of their way. Just surround yourself with the people who encourage you, people who will talk to you about the possibilities of life, about possibilities and not impossibilities. People who know that it is possible to have a child even in your 40s these days. If those people are talking to you, then you would listen. Not people who will tell you that you are 29 and you are growing. 29, you are growing. No. People are having babies even older than 40. Science has advanced. And so do not be discouraged. Don't confound your stress with all those people who are not effective support system. And by support system, I know Apostle is on the line. You have to go to church. Some people are single and they have no social group, no support system. When you go to church, when you belong to a social group, you receive encouragement. And not only that, you also get exposed to onlookers and people who are in the market. You know what I'm saying? You don't go to church. You don't belong to any religious activity or group. All you do is by yourself. I walk alone. No social interaction. No. Surround yourself with a support system, especially a place where you will receive encouragement, like in a church, in a fellowship, in a place where people who are like-minded will meet, place where people are yearning to support you, not people who will judge you, look at you and say that I know you're a bad girl, that's why you are not marrying. Nobody is coming out because when you were younger, you were doing all the bad stuff. You think any man is stupid, they're not coming. No, 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 no. You are going to marry. If you are changed, God is going to open the door. My goodness.
And I think you skipped the B, joy. Joy.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Inner joy. So like we know the difference between happiness and joy, right? Happiness is like when you buy a new car or something outwardly, then you are happy. But joy is inner
Inside.
joy, right? Inside. And the Bible says that the joy of the Lord is my strength.
My goodness.
The joy of the Lord is my strength. So
My goodness.
if you are getting all these negative, the naysayers, the people around you, so discouraging, bringing you down. Sometimes you were talking about church and support system. Sometimes at church, some people can say mean things. Though maybe unconsciously, they will say something that will hurt your feeling.
You're right.
But you have to have the inner joy.
You have to have the inner
joy of the Lord. If you are a Christian, you have to know for sure that the Lord God Almighty has set your path ahead, has put everything in place for you. So if it's not happening now, it's going to happen eventually. Like you said, that though it may tarry, it will surely come to pass. So find your own way to celebrate yourself. That peace that comes from the Lord, that joy. So just find that in you and just live your life. Don't let all the naysayers, people that brings you down, get to you, that you are alone. You go to your closet and you cry. You don't want to do that. Then you are making them win, or whatever they are telling you is getting to you. Just brush it off and just know that I know my Redeemer lives.
My goodness.
Hallelujah.
My goodness. My goodness.
You know you are going to win. You
Yes.
are going to win. Eventually, your one, the chosen one, the appointed person will come your way. So at this time, I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to live in joy. I'm going to live in peace. And I'm going to continue to add value to myself. Then at the appointed time, it will happen.
At the appointed time. My goodness. Let's give it up for Gifty. My goodness. My goodness. Now we have a comment here. I'm still waiting for more comments because we are not single, so we are not experts in being single. So everybody share your comment, especially if you are a single person. If somebody has done something to you that was so mean just because you're single, share with us and we'll talk about it. Or if you just got married and you had some technique, which I think somebody has just shown, I'm going to show you that live right now. You probably should share with us so that the other people who are single who will watch will benefit from the show. So we are waiting for your comments. Please keep them coming. So our brother, Hamza, has shared something here. Oh my goodness. What did he say? He says that socializing more and getting involved in activities that helps you to de-stress. My goodness. So a single person, you should social. As for socializing, it should be number one. Oh. Yeah. For socializing, it should be number one for you, a single person. Because that's how you expose yourself. That's how you show. Unfortunately, some people, the only place they show themselves back in Ghana is when there is a funeral. That's not a place to have your my goodness.
That can be another place to meet people.
But honey, how many people are with clear mind and the funeral? They are drunk.
There are good ones around
some people,
too.
Some. You didn't meet me at the funeral though, right? Oh my goodness. Right. I mean, I get your point. But I honestly, I believe you should be socializing more, like our brother said. And we're going to talk about more of the tips for you single men.
Because you are single. You have a lot of time at your disposal.
Even if you don't, you got to make the time because it's important. My goodness. You have to make the time. You are on the market, and if nobody sees you, who's going to buy? Who is selling a product and they put it in the dark? Who's going to see it? Who is going to see it? Before you joined this show, you saw that I was selling this show on Facebook or YouTube. You saw the thumbnail that says that single people stress And that is why you clicked. So if I hadn't shown that, would you know that we're doing something like this? No. So in the same way, if you are a single person out there and you are ready for marriage, you got to identify yourself. You don't hide in the shadows. I'm not saying that write it on your forehead and say that I'm single. No, 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 no. But what I'm saying goes back to what our brother Hamza was saying. You have to socialize. You cannot be a single person. You don't go to church conventions. Cannot be a single person. Your job is having this cookout or whatever. You don't go anywhere. Tomorrow in the United States is what we call Memorial Day. A lot of people are going to do cookouts. Show up if you are invited. Go there and show up. Dress good and be there. That is how you get exposed to the people who didn't know you were available. And when you're going, if you are not, taking, don't go with anybody who is going to make it difficult for you. Because if people know you are working with this guy or this man or this girl, they feel you are probably taken. Go alone if you are looking for prospects. We're going to talk more about that. I don't know if you have anything to add on that, but yeah, we are going to give you tips on that. And I'm hoping that more people are also going to share their ideas with us as we go forward. So that takes us to strategies to move to marriage life. So we already started with what our brother shared by saying that socialize more. So that is number one. What other strategies do we have? Think about any. So socializing is one. What other strategies? The other strategy is you pray. That's an easy one. If you haven't prayed enough about your partner, you probably shouldn't be looking. My goodness, come on, man. You should be praying about the person you're going to marry. And until that time happens, until the time has come for you to be in the limousine, for people to come in their white dresses and suit and black suit and stuff, until that time comes, all you got to do, not all you got to do, one of the things you got to do is to be in prayer, that God will ensure that the right person comes around. Because once it's done, it's done. There's no, for some people, it's like changing their car oil, motor oil. Every 3,000 miles or whatever, they go to the mechanic and they drain out all their oil and they fill it. In marriage, it's not like that. For what we believe, at least, marriage is eternal. I mean, it's a lifelong thing here. It's not eternal, because in heaven we won't. In heaven we won't marry. But here on earth, we ascribe to living or sharing your life with somebody over the rest of your life. And so if you don't pray into it and you get stuck with somebody that you can't be friends with, you're stuck. Unless you want to be like the person I'm talking about who changes their oil every 3,000 miles. So every 3,000 miles, you change your partner. Then that's you.
And I think last week we were talking about how like marriage can make or make you in life. So it's very, very important that you choose, to the best of your knowledge, the person that you think that you can go to the long haul, like to the end.
To the end with.
Yeah, because you're not just going to go in and out and just go try and see how it's like and come out. You are in to stay. So you have to make sure that you are doing all the right things. You are looking at the background, the interest, the things that the person loved doing, the common goals, things like that. So like that's why you were talking about going to church, right? So like if you are a church girl and you are going to find somebody who hates going to church, definitely there's going to be a conflict.
It's going to be a conflict, yeah.
That's why you were saying that it's good to go if like-minded people. If you love church, your education is such that is that high, like mind, so that you can be easily get together and move on together. And what I would also say is like there are values, like the women. I know that we have some standards. Sometimes we set the standard to the point that we can create the person. The person doesn't exist.
My goodness.
The standard is such that there is nobody that can
fit that standard.
That standard. You want this tall guy, little fair, half caste,
with muscles everywhere,
with six packs
six packs,
and
yeah,
like a lot of
educated,
money, live in a mansion,
educated,
drive this nice car, have a good
good job,
good job, like well paid job, and the family are also rich,
some rich family,
rich family, and
tall.
all that. You have your own ideals and values in your head, but in reality, that person doesn't exist.
Oh my goodness!
That
Come on, man!
person
I'm not
doesn't
that
exist.
person. Man, I thought I was that.
The person that would give me flowers once a week, open the door for
Just for
me,
you.
take me places, take me to Rome, all the big stuff in your head. That person doesn't exist.
Are you sure, babe?
Oh,
I thought
yeah,
I was
it
one.
So, you don't want to lower your standard, but sometimes some of the things, the physical things that you are looking for, you can just change it a little bit because that person doesn't exist. But the standard is there for you. You don't want to lower the standard, but the person, maybe the look may not suit what you really want, but maybe that's the person that God has chosen for you. So you have to find a way to find the person that you are looking for, not too high standard that nobody can meet, but something reasonable. And if one or two things are not there, you can manage and work along with that person and settle with the person.
My goodness, my goodness. When you were saying this, I just remembered before I got married, right? If I had remembered sooner, I would have brought you a picture of me just as I got married, and her picture too. Got to be, fair here. When we got together, if you looked at me, you would say that no, 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 that guy, no, 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 no. And if you look at her, maybe you also say no, 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 that woman, no. But the key is the key thing that I look at and that she also looked at is, what are your aspirations? What is your faith? What are you looking for in life? Not what you have now. Because as a matter of fact, if you go with somebody who already has it, since they already have it, they could also already lose it at the time you are there. And you have no say. But if you go with somebody who doesn't even have it, if they have it and they come, fine. But if you create a standard that this person has to drive this kind of car, this person has to live in this kind of house, they actually have to own their own home, and they don't have their own home. They have to do this kind of job. I am educated with this degree. At least this person has to be that. You create all those things and you look for that. It may take longer, But if you look at the person who may not have it now, when I was proposing, I had no college degree. I had no college degree, but I knew that I could get a college degree. I was in the process. So when I told her, hey, I'm trying to be a wife material here, a husband material here, can you be a wife material for me? She probably wasn't all that, happy about the situation at the moment. But my lips was able to tell her that I'm not going to be like this forever. And so if you are a lady, you are a guy out there, first of all, look at the person and see what they are about in the future, what they are talking about. Don't judge people now, because people are not going to remain the same. Trust me, add 10 years and the same person that you're looking down on with that six pack, all it takes is to hit the gym. That six pack will come. Yeah. If they are not tall, they probably won't be taller.
Won't be tall.
But what has height got to do with anything? Zacchaeus was the richest among his peers.
Oh boy.
Unfortunately, he got it the wrong way, but he was short. You know what I'm saying? He was short. And when Jesus came, he was still able to find him, even though he was short. So don't let that height and those, like she was saying, those standards delay you. If a man has come around and you are not married, you have been praying, close your eyes to the things that you have already said and ask God, is this man a marriage material? If they are not going to cheat on you, if they are going to go to work and come home, if they are going to make sure that they develop themselves, even if they don't, the way they are, if they love you enough and they love God, come on, grab that person and run with them. My goodness, grab them and run. Do not set unnecessary, standards. You can make a man if the man is not who you think they are. Grab them. You got the looks all right, but it doesn't look like they are decent enough. Grab them and train them and change them. You know what I'm saying? But to say that this is what I'm about. If you are not fitting this, I ain't going to marry you. You probably will have to get more shock absorbers because you're going to be stressed in the single life for a long time. Because like Gifty said, there ain't no perfect man, there ain't no perfect woman. A perfect man in one area, the man that may have that six pack and the tall may be the womanizing kind that you cannot trust. So what's the point?
That's another form of stress.
Another form of stress. In fact, that is worse because that one you are stuck with him. You are stuck with him, But a man that can be trusted, a believer, a man that has high hopes, willing, humble enough to do things, that can reason with you, and you can see this person loves you. That's the key. This person cannot live a day without talking to you. Come on, lady. Check that out. Check that out. That can move you straight from being single into being married. And forget about what your friends will say. Grab them by the horn and train them and teach them and help them to be the standard that you are so looking for in a man. In the same way for men, same thing. The women in your circles may not look like the women you actually think they are. The education is low, the culture is not the best. Even the family background they come from, you really wouldn't be wanting to associate with them. They come from a different clan, and you come from another clan, and the clans may not mix. No. There ain't nothing like that. Especially if you believe in Christ. Break those barriers down, and watch God point you to the right person. Because until you let loose those standards that you have set, I'm not saying you're not going to marry. You're going to marry, all right, but it's going to take you a lot longer than it's already taken.
If you're lucky to find
If
that
you're lucky to
person.
find that person, God will have to create that person. And as far as I know, He's not creating physically. He is giving them to pregnant women to come out. And so you may have to wait for somebody to grow up to your age, and by that time you will be too old, and the person will say that no, I can't take this man or this woman. So, dear friends, let us not go through undue stress about being single. Let us cut out some of the things that are hindrances. So
And also, you're talking about strategies, right? How to move from being single to marriage life.
yes.
You can also be that person that is easily approachable. So people can approach you as a lady. Maybe your standard is such that your education is high, you have something, you have money, you have it all. But you are not easily approachable. People cannot approach you with ease. You have created this barrier around you that people cannot penetrate. You have to let those guards down so that people can easily approach you. And when they approach you, give them the smile. The least you can do is to smile back. Say, hello, lady, how are you doing? The best you can do is, I'm doing great. How are you? Don't be that person that shun people, look down on people, like you have this attitude that how dare you talk to me? I'm not your level. If you do that, you are alienating a lot of people. The potential people are going to be blocked. And sometimes the person that you think that he's nobody knows somebody who is your class. So if you shun the person who is going to lead you to the person that you really want, you block your chance of meeting somebody that is likely to be your husband. So just open up, let guard down, and be approachable. Let people feel comfortable around you, and give them the smile.
Give them the smile.
And the eyes and all that. It doesn't mean you are doing anything out of ordinary. You're just being a nice person. And nice people seriously will attract good people. So give good energy out there, and you definitely attract somebody.
My goodness. Now, I'm trying to find out. I know we are streaming to multiple platforms, so there are some comments that we are not seeing. But if you have said anything and it's not showing up, I think it's showing up on my iPad, and I'm using it for things, so I can't really read it now. But if you have said any comment and it's not been answered, trust me, we are going to go to it as soon as we close the stream. And we are about to wrap up. But the key that Gifty said is make sure that you lower those standards, especially for the women. Let those guards down. I mean, I'm a man, and I think I understand exactly what she's saying. Some women, I mean, men are threatened, yeah, by just your presence. Hey, that woman, hey, don't try. Oh. Meanwhile, this woman is ready to overcome her own single life stress. They want somebody, but of course, because of the way you carry yourself, people are afraid to even come. What if they come and then you insult them in public? You the men that are around you who want you cannot come, and the people you are looking for are looking somewhere, and so it becomes very stressful. So let those guards down a little bit. And sometimes Gifty said that when they approach you, be nice. You approach too sometimes. You can approach. If you see good material walking around and they are scared to come, approach, woman. Approach. Come on, man. Man on the live. Approach. Approach. Yeah. No, I mean, it's some cultures have really taken that approach, initiative only for men, but it's not like that everywhere. If a woman is interested in a man who is husband material, woman and the man is gnashing. When I use that word, they are gnashing. They cannot. They are scared. You can tell that man really likes you. The way they are talking about you, they really want a relationship. And because of whatever reason, they are intimidated. They can't come around. Go around, woman. Go around. You don't just go and say that, man, I'm going to marry you. And if it has to come to that point, say it. But there's a way of you coming around and becoming friendly and letting your guards down a little bit, let the person feel comfortable, and then you will see that they will begin to be able to approach you and tell you what exactly is on your heart. Until you do that, then you leave this man, in a serious case of not being able to come around. They like you, but they are threatened, and you too like them, but because they can't come, you don't think so. So it is important that what Gifty said. Let's see if I think I got another comment here from Eric. Eric is saying that I know my level now, well endowed and very extensive education. As a matter of fact, I will sleep well today.
That doesn't solve the singleness, though.
No, at least he knows what to do. He knows what to do.
Okay.
He knows what to do. If the right people are around, don't be intimidated, the man on the life. If the women are being intimidated, they don't do who, like you say in Ghana. They don't bite. Click the like button. If you are watching, make sure you click the like button. And I don't know if Apostle Boama has any last minute comments, and we're about to close. I think that we have exhausted a lot of the points that we wanted to share with you today. So we will have a show in the future about more of these things. But the last thing we want to talk about, and then we wrap up, is what role can other people play to help single people? What role can other people play? Some people have enormous roles to play. And I will start off by saying that, did you know, I think I've told you, that I introduced two people who ended up being married today. They are married and they have, I don't want to say their names because I didn't ask for permission, but I feel so good when I see that couple together. Why? Because I felt that these people can really be good. And I introduced them, and that was it. And so that is what we're talking about. What role can you do? You too. You may not be a preacher. You may not be somebody with huge influence, but you can tell these friends of yours, one person doesn't even know the other, but you can tell that these people can make a good couple. You have a role to play. Introduce them. Introduce them. All you got to do is Tell one of them at least that I think this person is like a good wife or or husband material. I will introduce you to them and just introduce and watch them. If it is from God, it will click and they will make it. So those of us who are observing single people going through stress, these are some of the things we can do. Introduce and expose people to people who they probably wouldn't think that are wife or husband materials. You have anything to say on that?
Yeah, so somebody knows somebody, right?
Somebody knows somebody.
So you can, I can also say that you just have to be, you watch what you say around single people, especially if they are at that point that you can sense that desperation has set in. They are so desperate. You have to watch the way that you talk around them. That the fact that, hey, like, when are you going to get married? Don't say that to a single person. Somebody confided in me. The person said that she gets so emotional and upset when the older people approach them that way. Just think about what you tell them. Or that you can say that, oh, I know this year is going to happen. Just be positive.
Just be positive.
And tell them that I'm praying with you. I'm praying with you. It's going to happen. Wherever that man is, he's going to come. Or wherever that woman is, she is going to come. But don't be so judgmental and throw in words that will become so hurtful for such people. So that's something that you can do. If you cannot help people find their partners, don't throw in words that will hurt them, because in their quietness, in their loneliness, they are going to remember that you said something so hurtful, and they are going to even stress more. So that's the least you can do.
Just to
Just
be
don't.
quiet about around them.
Just don't be mean, or maybe unintentionally. You are not being intentional in hurting them. You feel their pain and you want to change for them, but the way you go about it, just be nice about it and just keep them in prayers.
That's mighty powerful. My goodness. My goodness. Now that that is something, especially in some cultures, that is really rampant. The older folks don't know that they are hurting the younger folks by saying that. It's not, some of them are not intentional. It's like it's normal for them. And so if you are also at the receiving end, I'll caution you not to take all those things too personal. Remember that the cultures may have changed. You are living in the US, you are living in the UK, you are living in Accra, in the city, and in Kumasi, in Istanbul, wherever you are watching from. And, that's how people, back in the day, they talk. Your own parents could even be a source of stress. When am I going to get my grandkids? When am I going to get grandkids? That pressure, you have to close your eyes to sometimes. Don't take them personal, because it can negatively affect you. It will make you feel inadequate. You will feel like, oh, maybe there's something wrong with me. That's why things are not happening. But no, don't accept that. So much as those older folks, we are telling you, don't do that. The younger folks who are also ready on the market for marriage, do not take that to the bank. When they say that, reject it.
Brush it off.
Brush it off. Know that person may be ignorant. That person may not know what they are talking about. You don't have to tell them, but move on. Respectfully disagree with them and move on. Say that, oh no, I'm all right. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and hopefully, and at some point they will all be educated. But I'm telling you, it's gonna take a while. It's going to take a while for such people to actually be educated in matters like that. But yeah, learn to brush them off and move on. That is a very important thing, because again, it's a social pressure, right? But we want to help those people. So do not make such comments to people who are not married. For all you know, they are themselves even delaying it for their own reason. Maybe they want to do their masters. Maybe after masters they want to do their PhD, and they themselves are delaying it. And then you go and you make such pronouncement. You turn them off. They're like, "What is marriage? Just leave me alone." And then they begin even to look and frown on marriage in the after you say that. So to support people who are single, do not make such pronouncements about them and in their presence. And be careful. If you have nothing good to say, be quiet. My goodness. If you don't have any encouraging words to say, just be quiet. Just be quiet about them. If you know what you're saying, you are not sure, be quiet. The best thing you can do is to pray with them and encourage them. You don't need to make any pronouncement. They themselves, they know that it's time, and when the right time happens, it will work out. Any other
Yeah, so
quote?
like if you are socializing, you're doing it all, and you seems not to be finding anybody potentially that you can marry. I think you can also do the app. I don't know about Christian app or
Christian
online.
apps online.
And
Okay.
yeah, you can try and meet different people and see how that goes. As long as you know the basics and your standards match, you can look into it and see whether you can find somebody. Some people will recommend that you go back to your country and find somebody. I don't know whether that is something that you will encourage, but you have to widen your net. If the social
Network
place
is.
that you are not finding the people that you think that you match well, you can look outside and see, not outside your faith or your belief or your standard, but outside the periphery, wherever you are.
A
So
location, right?
yeah, you can look around. Maybe you widen your net. You have to go to Pensa, you have to go to conferences outside the state that you are,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe a different state or somewhere else that you can look. And also I would like to add that if you are not able to handle the stresses so well, and you need professional, like we are science based, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like if you need professional advice, you can also seek for help through that angle.
My goodness, my goodness. You can seek for help if it is becoming too burdensome, if it's become so much that you need to actually, you know, need to see somebody for help. You need to seek for help. Your pastors, your marriage counselors, and other people are going to be able to help you navigate the pressures and stresses of single life. So we are about to wrap up, and we are actually wrapping up. Let's see if we have any new comments. We have another comment. Yes, Mr. Hamza is saying, link
People
people
up.
up. My goodness, link people up. If you know somebody who is a good wife or husband material, link them up. That is the least you could do, is to introduce them and say, this person I know may be somebody who is good for marriage. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you haven't lost anything, you know. But some people are moving around, they don't know who is even good. They are blind, you know. And so it is good to help out people who are needing to marry. All right, so we are about to end the stream. We're actually ending right now. And again, if your comment has not shown, we will take care of it as we close the show. And we want to say that you have been good, and we are happy that you joined us. But if you have not, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/ at Dr. Rotain, because we have tons of other health related information. We are dealing with stress, social issues with stress, and that is why you're watching this show. But if you want other forms of health issues, we have discussed diabetes, we've discussed Alzheimer's, every many, so at least a lot of disease states that we have talked about. Join us on our YouTube channel and go through them. And you can also follow us on Facebook. If you haven't clicked the follow, you're just watching us because somebody shared with you. Click the follows. That way, anytime we share something, you will be able to see. And as you do it on YouTube, also click what we call the bell. So it will announce to you when we post a video, and then you can just check it out. But for our live shows, every Sunday evening, we meet for live. And actually, giving Gifty the hint, tomorrow we are going live. So we're making a date for tomorrow evening, because it's a holiday in the US. In the evening, we're going to come live after all the cookouts. Just chill a little bit. Probably continue with the same topic, and we'll see you when we do that. So until we see you again, we say that, beloved,
Beloved, we
we
wish
wish above
above
all
all
things
things that
that you
you
prosper
prosper
and
and
be
be
in
in
health,
health,
even
even
as your
as your
soul
soul
prospers. Thanks for
prospers.
sharing your day with us.
Thank you.
God bless you.